In this demonstration, we're going to look at how we can configure certificates for Microsoft Exchange Server 2019. What I'm going to do is for my users, I'm going to allow my users to access all of their mail services by using a mail.adatum.com URL or DNS lookup. So the first thing we have to do is we do have to create the DNS record that will allow us to then access these resources by using a friendly name. So I've come into DNS, and within DNS, all I'm going to do at this point here is I'm just going to expand up my DNS server. I'm just going to come to my forward lookup zones, and I'm just going to go to adatum.com, which is my domain. And as you can see, we don't have anything pointing to mail.adatum.com. So all we're going to do is we're going to right click at this point here, and we're going to create a new host record. For this host record, we're going to call it mail. So it'll be mail, and that will give us mail.adatum.com. And this is going to point to an IP address of 172.16.0.14. We'll then add the host. We'll then click OK. I will select done. So we've now created that record. The next thing we're going to do is we're now going to create a certificate that can be associated with that record, and to do that we need to move to our Exchange server. So on the Exchange server, another thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the service connection point for AutoDiscover. So when my users are using whatever client it is they're using, I don't really want them to have to do any work to set it up. So one of the things we have to do is we have to create this thing called the service connection point. And we're going to do that through the Exchange Management Shell. So the first thing we're going to do is just do a query against the system to find out exactly how everything's currently configured. We're going to do that by using the get-client access service. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pipe that, which is a shift / on the UK keyboard, format the list. We're going to look at name and auto, so we just want the AutoDiscover information at this point here. That'll return back some information. So what we can see at this point here is we can see the AutoDiscover information. We can see we've got two Exchange servers. We can see they're currently pointing at LonEx1 and LonEx2, but the certificate I'm going to set up is going to be used for mail. So what we're going to do at this point here is we're just going to set up some additional information for the AutoDiscover. So let's just clear this screen off here. And to do that, we're going to issue another PowerShell commandlet. And the one we're going to use at this point here is we're going to do the get-client access service. So we want that information pulled from the Exchange config. Then what we're going to do with the pipe is where they're going to set the -client access service. And we're going to specify the -AutoDiscover service internal URI. I'm going to specify that is https://mail.adatum.com AutoDiscover and then AutoDiscover.xml, which will be the configuration file. So we'll just set that up. And that will now set the AutoDiscover information correctly. And when we create the certificate, we'll be able to authenticate against the devices by using the mail DNS record. Now we've done that, the next thing we need to do is, now we've set up AutoDiscover, is we just need to set up the external URLs that the user will access in order to access their email. So to do that, we're going to do that through the Exchange Admin Center. So we'll just launch up the Exchange Admin Center. And then in order to set up these external URLs that my user will connect to, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come into my Servers tab. And in my Servers tab, I'm going to come to my Virtual Directories. Then in my virtual directories, what we're going to do is we're just going to configure, by using our wrench, we're going to configure our external access domain. And what we're going to do for the servers, we're going to select two servers, because I have two servers, so I'm going to select lon-ex1, and I'm also going to add in lon-ex2, and then we'll select our OK button. And then what we're going to do for the domain is we're going to use mail.adatum.com. So we'll just make sure we've got mail in there. So mail.adatum.com, we're happy with all of this, so what we'll do is we'll select our save button. That's going to go through and set this up, and then all we need to do is select close. So we can now select close. Now we've taken care of the external people, next thing we need to do is we need to set up as well the internal URIs or URLs. So what we need to do is we need to come into the various services, and we just need to configure those services to be used with the internal URL. So what we'll do is we'll just find the AWS one to start with. So we'll go for the AWS default website. Now we have this, what we're going to do is we're just going to select edit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to specify the internal URL to be different to what we currently have here. So we're really just getting rid of the lon-ex1 bit, and we're putting in the mail bit. So we'll just put this in here. So we're going for our HTTPS ://mail.datum.com and then EWS exchange.asmx. Now there's a few more of these to set up, so all I'll do at this point here is, rather than just go through every single one, is I'll go to all the services, pause the demonstration, and we'll return back once I've set up all the internal URLs. So what I've done now is I've been to every single one of these services. If we just pick on the offline address book one, for example, if we just edit this, so I've been through every single service and I've pointed the internal URL. All I've done really is change the server name, and I've changed that to mail. So I'll just cancel that off, and I've been through every single one of these services and specified the new internal URL. Now we've done that, the next thing to do is to actually configure the client with the certificates for the client access. So what we're going to do, in the Servers tab within my Exchange Admin Center, I'm going to come to Certificates, and on Certificates what we're going to do is we're going to now create a new certificate. So I'm currently on lon-ex1, so we're happy with that, and what we're going to do at this point here is we're then going to come in and create a new certificate request. So we're currently using self-signed certificates, which isn't good from a security point of view, so let's create a new certificate. So we'll click on New. This is going to bring us into our new Exchange certificate. So what we're going to do at this point here is we're not going to use another self-signed certificate. What we're going to do is we're going to create a request for the certificate from a certification authority and select Next. It's going to ask me for the friendly name, so the friendly name is going to be the mail.datum.com. And then we're going to select our Next button. This point here, in the new Exchange certificates, we can at this point here, if we wish, we can use wildcard certificates. Wildcard certificates just allow me to have really a single certificate that we can apply to multiple things. I'm only going to generate a single certificate at this point here. So what we'll do is we'll just select Next. Then it's asking me to store my certificate request, so I'm just going to browse this through. What we're going to do is we're going to select the server lon-ex1 and just select OK. I'm then going to select my Next button, because I am going to store the certificate request on this server. We'll just review the list of domains, and as you can see all the way down we've got everything set to mail.datum.com, which is correct, so we're happy with that, so we can select Next. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of a datum.com down at the bottom here, so we'll just remove this one out of here. Just make sure that these names are correct. So we've got mail.datum.com, we've got the autodiscover.datum.com for the autodiscover service, and we are using lon-ex1.datum.com as well. So we're happy with everything we have in those domains, so we can select Next. Then all we have to do is we just have to fill out the information relating to the certificate. So we're going to go for a datum for the organisation name, IT for department, London for city, England, United Kingdom, and select our Next button. Next thing we need to do is we just need to save off this request. And what we're going to do is we're going to store that in // lon-ex1 /C $, so the C drive, Windows folder, temp, and we're going to call it cert request. Now we've done that, next thing to do is just select our finish button. And that has now created the certificate request. Once we have the certificate request saved off, the next thing we're going to have to do is take that certificate request and pass that to the certification authority. We're going to be using a Microsoft Certification Authority that we have built into this environment. So what I need to do at this point here is just open up the certificate request. So I'll do a file open. Then all we're going to do is we're just going to change this to all files so we can actually see it. And it's in the C colon, it's in the Windows folder, it's in the temp folder. And then in the temp folder, what we have is we then have a certificate request. So we'll just find the temp folder. Then what we'll do is we'll just scroll this down and we're just going to find our cert request. And we'll just open that up. We now need to take all that information and we need to submit that to the certification authority. So to do that, I'm just going to do a Control A, just select everything, and then I'm going to do Control C. We'll just come back to Internet Explorer, and all we're going to do at this point here is I'll just open up a new tab, and in this new tab, what we're going to do is we're going to connect through to the certificate server. So I've done that by coming to http ://lon-dc1 /cert-serve/. Now what we're going to do is we're going to request a new certificate. We're going to go for an advanced certificate request. We're going to go for submit a certificate request by using base64 encoded. And then what we're going to do, just in the saved request, we're going to come in, just hit our Control V key, just put in our certificate request. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come to our certificate template, and what we're going to do is we have an datum web template. So we'll use our Datum web template, and then finally what we'll do is click submit. Now we have the certificate created. Let's download the certificate. Asking me down here, do I want to save it? I don't want to save it. I don't want to open it, sorry, I want to save it. So we'll save that off, and as we can see, we've now downloaded that new certificate. Now we have that certificate, we need to get it into Exchange Server, so we'll just come back to our Certificates tab. So now our Certificates tab, what we're going to do is we're just going to import that new certificate. So we'll come up to email.datum.com. Then what we'll do is we'll complete. And then all we need to do is we just need to import that certificate. And we're going to pull that from / lon-ex1 / C $ users administrator.datum downloads cert new.cer. So all we need to do now is just click OK. Quick check, let's go to mail.datum.com, and as we can see, this has now come from a certification authority. So we can see when it's going to expire. So I've got 10 years on it, so that's fine. Now what we need to do is we just need to export and import that certificate, because we also need to associate that certificate with lon-ex2. So we'll come to our more option, and then what we're going to do is we're going to export this Exchange certificate, and then we need to specify where we're going to export it to. So what we'll do is we'll put it on a file share, and we'll put that onto lon-ex2 just to make it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to export that to lon-ex2 C $ users, and then the administrators folder, downloads, and mailcert.pfx. I've password protected it as well, just in case. And then all we'll do is we'll just select our OK button. Now we've done that, next thing to do is actually import that. So we'll just come up the top here, and all we're going to do is we're just going to change this to lon-ex2, and then we're going to import the certificate onto lon-ex2. Really just the reverse of what we did with the export. So at this point here, we'll just click on our More button, and now we're going to import a certificate. It's going to ask us where to import it from, so we'll just fill out the information required. So we've specified the directory, put in the password. Now all we can do is select Next. And at this point here, click the plus button, specify lon-ex2, select our Add button, and then select OK. Then select Finish. Now we have the certificates in place. Now all we need to do is we need to assign them. So I'm just going to double click on mail.datum.com. Then what we need to do is we need to say which services we actually want to use the certificate for. So we're happy with everything on the general page. Let's just go to services, and then what we're going to do in services is we're going to use it on SMTP, and we're going to use it on IIS. Now we've done that, we'll just select our Save button. Yes, we do want to overwrite the existing certificate. And there you go, we've now applied those certificates. And that's the end of this demonstration of setting up certificates for Exchange Server 2019. Thank you.